Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share with you something that is both simple and life-changing, something that has been hidden in plain sight and yet carries with it the ability to transform the lives of men even well into their later years. For decades, the medical world has searched for solutions to the natural decline of male vitality, particularly the issue of erectile strength and function as men age. Countless supplements, medications, and complicated treatments have been marketed, some of them expensive, some filled with side effects, and some entirely ineffective. But what if the real secret to restoring erections naturally, even after the age of 80, lay in something as ordinary, as comforting, and as accessible as your morning cup of coffee? Imagine the simplicity of pouring yourself a steaming cup, taking that first sip, and knowing that inside this warm, familiar ritual there lies a scientifically supported trick that can help your body reclaim something you thought was lost forever. Now, when I say coffee, I don't mean the sugary, calorie-laden drinks topped with whipped cream and syrups. I mean pure black coffee, nature's own stimulant, packed with compounds that science has only recently begun to understand in full. Coffee contains caffeine, of course, but beyond that it carries polyphenols, antioxidants, and vasodilatory agents that have an incredible effect on blood vessels, circulation, and the endothelial cells that line the inner walls of your arteries. Erections, at their very core, are a matter of blood flow. The penis is not a muscle that lifts weights or a bone that grows stronger with calcium. It is a vascular organ, and the ability to have and sustain an erection depends entirely on the capacity of blood to flow freely into the corpora cavernosa and stay there under pressure. Anything that disrupts this, whether it is aging, smoking, poor diet, lack of exercise, diabetes, or simply time itself, weakens that mechanism. What coffee does, when consumed correctly and consistently, is enhance the very pathways that control circulation, nitric oxide release, and vascular relaxation. You see, in studies conducted over the past decade, men who consumed moderate amounts of coffee daily showed significantly lower rates of erectile dysfunction than those who did not. The reason comes down to the interaction between caffeine and the smooth muscle tissue in the penis. Caffeine acts as a phosphodiesterase inhibitor, though in a milder way than prescription medications. What does that mean in practical terms? It means it helps the blood vessels relax, remain open, and allow for greater flow. That very mechanism is the cornerstone of erectile function, and unlike a pill that you take once before an intimate moment, coffee supports your vascular system day after day, creating long-term improvements rather than short-lived effects. But the story does not end there. Coffee also influences hormone levels, particularly testosterone. Testosterone is not only about libido and sexual desire, it also plays a central role in the physiology of erections. Men with higher testosterone levels experience better erectile rigidity, more frequent spontaneous erections, and improved sexual performance overall. As we age, testosterone declines gradually, leading many men to believe their best days are behind them. Yet research has shown that coffee consumption can reduce the rate of decline, boost testosterone indirectly through improved insulin sensitivity, and even lower cortisol, the stress hormone that competes with testosterone and undermines sexual performance. By lowering stress, balancing hormones, and energizing both the body and the mind, coffee becomes more than just a pick-me-up. It becomes a natural tool to restore what aging tries to take away. Imagine a man in his 80s, still waking up with vitality, still able to respond to his partner with strength and confidence, still connected to that essential part of his identity that society too often tells him must fade away. That is not a fantasy, that is possible, and it begins with knowledge. Too often men accept erectile dysfunction as an unavoidable curse of aging. They hide it, they suffer in silence, and they allow it to affect their relationships, their confidence, even their mental health. But I want to stand here today and tell you that there are natural, effective, scientifically validated ways to fight back, and coffee is one of the most overlooked and powerful among them. Some of you may be asking, how much coffee is enough and when should it be consumed? Research suggests that 2 to 3 cups of black coffee per day, free from sugar and heavy cream, is the sweet spot. More than that can cause jitteriness, disrupt sleep, or lead to digestive discomfort, but in moderation, it provides the exact amount of caffeine and polyphenols to maximize benefits. Taken in the morning, it jumpstarts metabolism, energizes the mind, and primes the body for the day. Taken before exercise, it enhances performance, endurance, and circulation. And because exercise itself is one of the strongest natural boosters of erectile function, the synergy of coffee and physical activity creates a powerful combination that keeps blood vessels responsive and healthy. Now, let us talk about endothelial health for a moment. The endothelium is the thin lining inside blood vessels that regulates dilation, constriction, clotting, and immune function. In men with erectile dysfunction, endothelial dysfunction is almost always present. This is why erectile dysfunction is considered an early warning sign for cardiovascular disease. It signals that the blood vessels throughout the body are not functioning properly. Coffee's antioxidants repair endothelial damage, reduce inflammation, and promote nitric oxide production, which is the very molecule needed for an erection to occur. Without nitric oxide, the penis cannot signal the arteries to dilate, and without dilation, no erection can be achieved. Coffee strengthens this chain at multiple points. It protects the endothelium, enhances nitric oxide, and relaxes the smooth muscle tissue. That is why men who make coffee a daily habit often notice not only improved erections but also improved energy, sharper cognition, and even a lower risk of stroke and heart attack. But let me also be clear, coffee alone is not a magic bullet. It is a powerful tool, yes, but it must be part of a holistic approach. Men who combine coffee with proper hydration, regular physical activity, a diet rich in whole foods, and good sleep hygiene see the most dramatic improvements. Coffee enhances the benefits of these other lifestyle factors, creating a cumulative effect. And when men commit to this routine, the results can be astonishing, even in advanced age. I have seen men in their 70s and 80s regain not just erectile function, but also the spark of intimacy in their marriages, the confidence to pursue relationships, and the joy of knowing that age does not have to dictate ability. Consider this, for generations, erectile dysfunction has been treated as a taboo, a silent struggle, a shameful secret. But when we strip away the stigma and look at the biology, we see it for what it really is, a vascular condition, one that can be treated, reversed, and prevented. By embracing natural evidence-based strategies like the coffee trick, we empower men to take control of their health rather than surrendering to decline. A simple coffee ritual can restore intimacy, confidence, and quality of life even past 80, and when I say this, I mean it not as a casual statement, but as a reflection of evidence, biology, and lived experience. For many people, aging is viewed as a slow decline where energy diminishes, strength weakens, and the spark of intimacy fades into memory. But aging does not have to be a surrender, and one of the most overlooked truths in medicine is that small daily habits, repeated with consistency, create transformations that pharmaceuticals alone often cannot. Coffee, a drink that has been consumed for centuries across every culture, holds within it properties that directly affect the mechanisms of vitality, circulation, and emotional well-being. When ritualized, when turned into a consistent practice, it becomes more than a beverage. It becomes a bridge that carries men and women alike into their later years with vigor, resilience, and confidence that intimacy is not confined to youth, but can flourish even in the 9th decade of life. To understand how something as ordinary as coffee can touch the deepest aspects of human connection, we must first revisit what intimacy really means. Intimacy is not merely the physical act of sex, though sexual function is undeniably central for many men and couples. Intimacy is about closeness, trust, vulnerability, and the ability to share oneself fully with another. In men past the age of 60, 70, and even 80, the biggest barrier to intimacy is not a lack of desire, but a lack of confidence in their body's ability to respond. Erectile dysfunction becomes a shadow that lingers in the background, reducing spontaneity, creating anxiety, and at times even discouraging men from pursuing moments of closeness. And yet, erectile dysfunction is not an inevitable curse of age. It is a vascular condition, a circulation issue, a reflection of endothelial health and hormonal balance. Coffee, with its caffeine, antioxidants, and metabolic benefits, directly nourishes the very systems that sustain erections, energy, and desire. The ritual of coffee, when framed as medicine, transforms into a natural therapeutic act. Imagine a man who begins each morning not by lamenting his age, not by resigning himself to the idea that his intimacy is gone, but by preparing a simple cup of coffee, rich, black, and unadulterated. As he sips, he is not just drinking a warm beverage, he is fueling his cardiovascular system with compounds that dilate his blood vessels, protect his endothelial lining, and stimulate nitric oxide production. These mechanisms, though invisible to him, set the stage for improved circulation throughout the day. With better circulation comes stronger erections, and with stronger erections comes restored confidence. Confidence, in turn, reignites intimacy because intimacy flourishes when self-assurance replaces anxiety. But there is also a psychological dimension to the ritual. Coffee is not only a stimulant of the body, it is a stimulant of the mind. It awakens, sharpens, and clears mental fog. In older men, one of the greatest challenges is not just physical decline, but the creeping sense of irrelevance, the feeling that one's sharpness has dulled, that one's vitality is behind them. Coffee fights back against this decline, improving alertness, enhancing mood, and lowering the burden of fatigue. Men who feel mentally alert, energetic, and positive are more inclined to initiate intimacy, more capable of engaging socially, and more resilient in the face of stress. When confidence rises from the inside, relationships begin to flourish again. Wives notice it, partners feel it, and intimacy is naturally rekindled. Scientific research further validates what tradition has long intuited. Large-scale population studies show that men who consume 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day are less likely to report erectile dysfunction compared to men who avoid it. The caffeine acts as a natural vasodilator, opening blood vessels, and its antioxidant compounds repair oxidative damage that accumulates with aging. This is particularly relevant because erectile dysfunction is often the earliest visible sign of systemic vascular decline. By targeting blood vessels, coffee does not only support erectile health, but also protects the heart and brain, reducing risks of stroke, heart disease, and dementia. What emerges is a holistic improvement in quality of life. A man in his 80s who drinks coffee daily may find himself not only more capable of intimacy, but also more energetic, more mobile, and more connected mentally. The ripple effect is profound. For couples, the reintroduction of intimacy at older ages can be transformative. Many women in long-term marriages express that what matters most is not necessarily the frequency of sexual activity, but the presence of closeness, touch, and shared vulnerability. When a man feels capable of physical intimacy again, he approaches his partner with renewed confidence, initiating moments that otherwise might have been avoided out of fear of failure. The partner responds not only to the physical act, but to the emotional investment, to the unspoken message that says, "I still desire you, I still want to connect with you." Coffee, though it seems so simple, plays a role in sustaining that message because it restores the capacity that makes such expression possible. In this way, a cup in the morning can ripple into the bedroom at night, reviving not only erections but also the bonds of love and connection. Beyond biology and relationships, there is something deeply powerful in the concept of ritual itself. Human beings are creatures of habit, and rituals give structure, meaning, and predictability to life. For older adults, rituals anchor the day, creating stability and a sense